The movie kicks off with some villains breaking into a British government lab, mistreating the scientists to snatch some advanced technology. A high-ranking British military official named Khan then decides to assign a special agent, Nathan, to recover the stolen tech and uncover the reasons behind the theft. Nathan discusses his plan to assemble a team for the mission. First, he suggests a guy named Orson, but Khan is hesitant because Orson is notorious for his expensive tastes, like flying private and indulging in pricey wine. However, Nathan insists Orson is the only one capable of handling such a challenging mission. At that moment, though, Orson is vacationing in Morocco, so Nathan plans to meet him there later. The next day, Orson isn't thrilled to find Nathan in his hotel room in Morocco, but they are actually good friends. Nathan briefs Orson on the new mission and introduces the rest of the team, including Sarah, a female hacker, and JJ, Orson's assistant. Nathan assures Khan that JJ has the necessary skills to get the job done. The group collects Orson in Morocco and heads to Madrid by private jet, while Sarah and JJ arrive ahead of them. Orson still prefers their former hacker, John, because Sarah is quite talkative. At the airport, they begin their mission and soon spot a person who had stolen items from the lab the previous day. Their plan is to recover the stolen technology and track this person to discover who the buyer is. For this operation, Nathan also recruits 2 more agents. However, during the mission, these agents are unexpectedly knocked out by an unknown assailant. Surprisingly, even Sarah, who had hacked into the airport cameras, didn't see this coming. Orson has a competing mercenary named Mike, who, along with his team, was behind the recent incident. Mike is also after the same package. Fortunately, Orson and JJ discovered this just in time, intervening when Mike's team almost snatched the package from an elderly man. Even though they stopped the ambush, Mike's men continued to tail their car. Nathan attempted to copy data from the hard drive inside the suitcase, but it was locked, and they were pressed for time. Eventually, Mike's men blocked their path. At that critical moment, the old man instructed Nathan to deliver the hard drive to a cafe later that afternoon, warning that his wife's safety was at stake. Nathan followed through and left the suitcase at the cafe as requested. Shortly after, an unknown man retrieved it. Sarah used her hacking prowess to discover that the buyer was a lawyer named Harris, who was employed by an illegal arms dealer named Greg. Orson recognized Greg's name and, after conducting some research, learned that Greg was holding a high-profile charity event for wealthy attendees in another city. To catch Greg's attention, Orson and Sarah devised a plan without informing Nathan. Surprisingly, their first move was flying to Los Angeles to pick up a famous actor named Danny Francesco, Greg's favorite actor. Rumor has it that Greg admired Danny to the extent that he offered him $150 billion to attend his birthday party, but Danny declined. However, Orson and Sarah devised a strategy to persuade Danny to collaborate. In an unexpected turn of events, Sarah discovered a secret recording proving that Danny had an affair with his sister-in-law. She also found some issues involving Danny's primary manager. Initially, Danny arrogantly dismissed Orson's proposal, but upon learning about the affair recording, he quickly agreed. The following day, they all traveled to France for a charity event hosted by Greg on a luxurious cruise ship. Sarah posed as Danny's girlfriend while Orson played the role of Danny's manager. Greg was ecstatic upon seeing Danny and even purchased a $20 billion necklace as a present to strike up a conversation. Greg, known for flirting with celebrity girlfriends, made advances towards Sarah, mistaking her for Danny's partner. Their plan was to hack Greg's phone, but his assistant took it to a separate room, forcing them to change their approach as Greg wanted to spend time with Danny. Meanwhile, GJ and Nathan were hacking the ship's security systems from their hotel room. Unexpectedly, a member of Mike's team showed up at the event, prompting Orson to handle the situation. Simultaneously, Sarah snuck into the room housing Greg's phone, but Harris noticed her. Luckily, she deflected suspicion with smooth talk. At the same time, Orson attempted to bribe Mike's men with an expensive watch to abandon their mission, but Mike's arrogance led Orson to abandon this tactic. A fight ensued, but Orson proved to be a far superior fighter than his adversaries. Meanwhile, Danny informed Greg that he would portray a secretive billionaire in his upcoming film. Greg found this role quite similar to his daily life, so he invited Danny to his posh mansion to observe his daily routine for reference. He also asked Sarah to join them. During their meeting, a group of Ukrainian mafia members, led by a man named Alexander, unexpectedly arrived. These individuals were Greg's clients and admirers of Danny. While they were taking photos together, Greg tried to get closer to Sarah, but luckily, Orson interrupted and halted their mission on the ship. They successfully hacked into Greg and Alexander's communications. Surprisingly, Alexander and his crew were the ones who had stolen technology from the lab, while Greg was merely the intermediary, and they still didn't know the buyer's identity. At that time, Nathan and Orson were also unaware of the type of technology that Alexander had stolen. So Nathan was sent to infiltrate Alexander's place and hack their computer. When he entered the enemy's compound, Orson used anesthetic gas to put everyone inside to sleep. Orson was supposed to hack Alexander's laptop in his safe, but he seized the chance to steal some jewelry and money from their headquarters as well. As he was leaving, Orson had to fight two mafia members and Alexander, who wasn't affected by the gas. The next morning, JJ, who had managed to hack Greg's phone the previous day, finally got to listen to Greg's conversation with two men named Trent and Arnold, who were the buyers of the stolen items. However, during their conversation, they did not specify what type of technology they were purchasing. They stressed that the deal happening the following day was very confidential, so they avoided talking about the location over the phone. Consequently, Nathan divided their team into two. First, Sarah and Danny would act as if they were on vacation at Greg's villa to gather information about the technology included in the upcoming transaction. In brief, Sarah and Danny reached Greg's lavish villa, noticing Greg's immense wealth. He even had rare luxury cars, one of which Danny was set to use in his new movie, which really impressed Danny. While Danny and Greg were off enjoying drives, Sarah managed to secretly access the security cameras in Greg's house and sneak into his study undetected. She began hacking into Greg's computer files, but unfortunately, she couldn't find any data related to the high-tech transaction, only logs of dealings with outdated terrorist weapons. Meanwhile, Orson and Jay were in Turkey tracking Alexander, who seemed to be acting as the intermediary in the deal. Soon, they noticed Greg's lawyer Harris in the same vicinity. Orson then decided to follow Harris. Unfortunately, Harris realized Orson was tailing him. During the pursuit, JJ blocked all of Harris's communications, but Orson struggled to catch up since Harris was on a motorcycle. In the end, Harris managed to slip away by entering a building. He cleverly tricked Orson by placing his phone in a tourist's pocket and pushing the tourist from a height, making Orson think the fallen tourist was Harris. Harris then tried the same trick on Orson, but ended up falling himself. Later that evening, Nathan learned from a source that the technology Alexander had stolen was a highly advanced AI capable of hacking any system on Earth, including national defense systems, and potentially launching a nuclear attack. Based on the information obtained from Harris's phone, the AI transaction was scheduled for the next day. The following morning, some of Alexander's agents were coming to pick up Harris from his hotel, so Orson had to disguise himself as Harris while JJ secretly placed a tracking device on the agent's car and followed them. After Orson was taken to a secure location, JJ positioned himself to guard Orson from afar with a sniper rifle. Later, a representative from Alexander arrived with the stolen AI technology. However, they needed a 15-digit code known only to Greg to verify its authenticity. Orson called Greg to obtain this code. Unbeknownst to Greg, Sarah had infiltrated their phone line and altered Orson's voice to sound like Harris's. Greg, unaware of Harris's death, didn't suspect a thing. Yet, Sarah's hack was detected by a tech-savvy subordinate of Greg's, who noticed their network had been compromised. Fortunately, Greg's team discovered this only after Orson completed the AI transaction. Realizing the danger, Sarah and Danny attempted to flee Greg's villa, prompting Greg to command his men to pursue them. Meanwhile, Orson's identity was exposed when one of Alexander's men recognized him from a previous encounter during the heist at Alexander's headquarters. Fortunately, JJ used his sniper skills to shield Orson. Orson tried to escape in a car equipped with AI technology, but unknown troops arrived in helicopters and attacked everyone, even destroying the car Orson was driving. The leader of these troops turned out to be Mike, who successfully foiled Orson's escape. JJ continued to monitor Orson from a distance and sensed something unusual about Mike's team. A team discovered that they were also targeting innocent people working for Alexander. Mike even instructed his men to kill Orson before leaving. Luckily, JDJ managed to defeat Mike's men who intended to harm Orson. Meanwhile, Sarah and Danny were attempting to escape from Greg's troops, defending themselves with the limited weapons they had until they forced one of the enemy's vehicles down into a ravine. Shortly after, Orson and JJ followed Sarah using a helicopter they had seized from the enemy. Upon arrival, they took down one of Greg's men by firing a missile. Nathan, frustrated because Mike ruined his operation, tried to determine which country Mike worked for but failed. He suspected Mike intended to use the AI technology for his own benefit. Thus, Nathan devised a plan to convince Greg to cooperate. Greg agreed after hearing the plan and disclosed that Trent and Arnold were actually collaborating with Mike to steal the AI technology. Trent and Arnold planned to use the AI to destabilize the global banking system, rendering all currencies worthless except for gold. They had been amassing gold for a while, so this strategy would make them extremely wealthy. During the night, Greg and Danny approached Trent and Arnold's base, where Mike and his team were also present. Greg cunningly invited everyone to chat, keeping them distracted while Orson and JJ initiated an attack on Mike's forces. Despite his calm demeanor, Greg was furious at Trent and Arnold for breaking their deal. To demonstrate the consequences of betraying him, Greg detonated some nearby buildings. He then instructed Danny to distribute a list of locations and names of Trent and Arnold's family members, threatening their safety unless Trent and Arnold paid the commission owed from the prior day within 5 minutes. After delivering the threats, Greg and Danny departed. With the focus on Greg's ominous warnings, Orson proceeded to confront Mike. The threat against his mother deeply troubled Trent, leading him to sever ties with Mike. This decision provoked a deadly altercation, ultimately resulting in Mike's victory. Meanwhile, Orson navigated through the building, encountering and fighting Mike's remaining guards. As Orson reached the top, Mike attempted to launch a surprise attack. Fortunately, Sarah, monitoring the scene with a drone, alerted Orson just in time. In the end, they acquired the AI technology, and JJ and Sarah picked up Orson. During this, Sarah informed Orson that Nathan had departed to DOA Catter for an urgent mission. They soon traveled to DOA to deliver the AI technology to Nathan. Although Nathan was pleased, he immediately mentioned a new mission. However, Orson and his team declined, opting to enjoy their vacation instead. Meanwhile, Danny focused on his new movie project. Curiously, he mimicked Greg's approach, and Greg himself was on set directing the film. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell if you want to watch more videos like this. Thank you for watching and see you again soon. Take care.